250 years ago, a group of men in a hot room in Philadelphia, wearing wool in July with no air conditioning and no deodorant, signed a piece of paper that essentially said, "We quit."
Yeah, gross. But here we are, 2.5 centuries later, a country that has produced the Grand Canyon, which we
made it in 250 years.
We totally did it.
That was so weird.
The light bulb, jazz music, a possible moon landing, and deep fried butter sticks.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Scott.
And this is Tomfoolery and Hullabaloo, the show that makes you laugh and think, usually in that order.
Hopefully.
Occasionally at the same time, and once in a while, neither one. And we apologize for those
For
weeks.
sure. For sure.
We've deleted some of those episodes.
I hope more than you know. Today is America's 250th birthday. Well, at least it's close enough to it. But we are not going to do the greatest hits of America. We are absolutely not. No Paul Revere, no Betsy Ross, no Cherry Tree, which actually didn't even happen. It was like propaganda, like a preacher made that up to sell books.
What are you going to make up to sell your book?
Hey,
you're going to have to do something.
Whoa. Look, something we did obviously invent with the Cherry Tree was propaganda and advertising.
That's right.
You know?
Today, we're doing the weird stuff, the footnotes, the stories that are somehow true, yet nobody put them in your textbook. We've got a United States Army camel cavalry. We've got the greatest birthday party this country has ever thrown, which happened about 4 weeks ago and involved most of the planet. And we've got a top 10 list that includes a war we fought over, one pig. Scott, are you ready to celebrate 250 years of this magnificent mess?
I absolutely am. I cannot wait to get into it.
All right. First section of the day is rapid fire.
Okay.
Which state has the best flag?
Okay. Texas.
Okay. That is the softball. It is a great flag, by the way.
But I will say, like Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, they really crushed it.
Hey, go north to Colorado. That's a pretty good one.
Simplicity, I think, is key. Like the overly complicated ones, like the state seal ones are always kind of weird.
Yeah.
But one exception, Oregon.
Oregon has a great flag.
Because they have their state seal on one side and then you flip it over, completely different.
Such a good design.
Just a beaver.
Wyoming has always been a favorite of mine. And so that is like blue flag, white buffalo. There is a seal, but it looks great on a hat and a t-shirt.
And super simple though.
Super simple. And then South Carolina, it's got the palmetto tree and the half moon or a moon, crescent moon.
Yeah.
That one's one of my favorites as well.
Reminds me of like Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
Oh, it does look a little bit that way. But we went to the Royal Gorge over summer break. This is a huge canyon in Colorado.
It better be a gorge.
It's a gorge.
Okay.
I didn't really know what a gorge was till we went to the Royal Gorge.
It's kind of like a canyon.
I zip lined across it. I got to show you the video. It's really cool. But on it, there is every state flag. And I was underwhelmed. I mean, Texas, we have a great state flag.
Absolutely.
And then as we walked down the bridge and the wind was out incredible. I don't even know how they let us zip line in this weather. But I was like, dull flag, dull flag, dull flag.
Right.
I mean, so I think my vote today, Texas is off the table. Doesn't count for us because we're partial to it.
How about Texas's old flag with the cannon on it that says "Come and take it"?
I love that one too. I love that one too. But my vote, I'm going to go with Wyoming.
Wyoming. I think I'm going to go with California, which might surprise some of you guys, but I love the white with the bear.
Yeah, I pick a buffalo, you picked a bear.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing.
Okay, number 2, most American food that isn't actually American.
All right, so we have to take some things off the table for this one too, because we in previous episodes have established that if we had one last meal, hamburger would probably be it, but that's not American. So hamburgers, hot dogs.
It may not originate in America, but it is now an American food.
Well, for sure. I mean, when people think of America, one thing that doing a little bit of research, I found out that apple pie is not American.
Yeah. Then why do we say it's as American as apple pie?
Right. So maybe that means that thing is actually American.
I mean, I'm going to just start saying it's as American as a hamburger.
Right. We absolutely should.
Means the same thing.
But like I love like fried rice, right? Also not American.
No.
Burritos, tacos, probably the most perfect food.
What is the most American, non-American food?
That's not a hamburger?
Yeah.
It's got to be apple pie.
It's got to be apple pie.
But
I don't know. The French fry.
French fry also, yeah. And a French fry not from France, it's from Belgium.
Belgium. That's our neighbor.
Yeah, I guess.
Don't they speak French? They do. They speak a few languages.
I think they speak Belgish.
All right. You get one more face to add to Mount Rushmore that is not a president. Who you putting on that mountain?
Okay. So if it was a president.
But it's not.
I know.
Okay.
Reagan probably.
Okay.
Maybe JFK, but not a president. Willie Nelson? Like who?
Okay, I was going to say Martin Luther King. I don't know. Kind of
You'd
a
be
great,
pretty good one too, I
he's
guess.
kind of a great American.
Oh yeah. I would just like who's like an iconic American face that
It's funny.
isn't an
Willie popped into my mind, and I was like, Sarah, you can do better.
well rats. No, but like Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Nate Bargatze.
Do you know, is this, oh my God. Okay,
like who-
we want,
Elvis Presley.
yeah, that's a better, yeah, let's,
Better than Dolly?
you know, even though he was not born here, I would love to see Albert Einstein's hair on Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
In the picture where he's like, and he's
Yeah.
sticking his tongue out.
I mean, maybe Tesla, Edison.
Nikola Tesla. Ben Franklin was not a president,
Right?
and he would be great.
A good one.
But I think from an iconic standpoint, my joke answer is Albert Einstein, but my real answer is probably Martin Luther King.
Yeah, that's a
Now,
really good answer.
we have not said a woman yet.
Dolly Parton is a woman.
Oh, she is. But that's not legit. I was trying to think of a woman to put on there that is not Dolly Parton.
Who would you pick?
I don't know. That's why I'm tossing this
Oh.
up here. We have not really
Kristen
said
just said Betsy Ross.
Yeah, Betsy Ross seems like a good answer, but I don't know. Put
Yeah,
on
who's
there.
that famous scientist? We did a thing on her. Was she not American? The one that ended up poisoning herself with her inventions?
Yeah, we talk so much. I
we
can't
really do.
retain everything we talk about.
Maybe Sarah can go on Mount
Me?
Rushmore. Yeah.
Well, I got a lot of work to do if I want to get there. If I want to replace Martin Luther King,
The
as
Mount
somebody
Rushmore
on
of Del Rio.
that I probably don't even make that one. Unless this podcast takes off.
Hey,
and then now
that's
we're
up to you
talking.
guys.
Come on.
You want to see her face on Mount Rushmore? Let's do it.
What is the most underrated state in the union?
Well, I'm going to say Wyoming, but only like based off of like population because there's not very many people that live there.
Right.
Right. I think
And
there's-
they'd like to keep it that way.
I think
so
they
don't
would.
start moving there, y'all.
I think it would be very appealing to me, Wyoming, to move because of the population thing.
Mhm.
I think maybe Rhode Island is a little underrated because what is it?
Yeah.
No offense if we have any listeners to Rhode Island.
It's smaller than Valverde County.
Right. Message into us. Let us know. Valverde County is the county that we live in. That's with Del Rio. And we have more landmass than Rhode
Yeah.
Island does. So
My votes were going to be Idaho or Kentucky. I think they're both beautiful, not overly populated.
yeah.
Different terrains, obviously, but off the beaten path. You can have a wonderful vacation in either of those, and people would go, "Oh, I never thought to
Sure.
vacation in those states."
I think that maybe South Dakota too might be a little underrated because it gets a lot of bad rap from us because it's like there's North Dakota. So we just assume that it's the same.
Right.
But South Dakota is beautiful. Like it has the Badlands there. Mount Rushmore is there. The Devil's Tower, which I don't think it's called that anymore, but it's a very unique landmass that's in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Very interesting state. But
I do have to say, we were in Omaha, Nebraska a couple summers ago, and my husband and I were oogling the grass. Now, mind y'all, we live in the desert of West Texas. It's very hard to grow grass here. And there was just the most luscious grass
Right.
growing aplenty. And we told our Uber driver, we were like, "Can you stop? We'd like to run around barefoot."
well, every time that we leave Del Rio and we go to another either part of the state or even another state in the union, and we see people who don't have sprinkler systems because God just waters their grass,
Yeah,
it just blows our mind.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
No. All right. Next segment. Would you rather?
Ooh.
Okay, Scott, would you rather be in the room in Philadelphia, July 1776, for the signing of the Declaration of Independence? Now, there is no AC. You have to wear a wool coat, and everyone is terrified they're about to be hanged for treason. Or standing in the sand at Kitty Hawk, December 17th, 1903.
So it's hard for me because I would love to be at both of these.
Yeah, we all would. That's why it's called Would You Rather.
Although it sounds miserable, I've been to Philadelphia in July and I would never wear wool in July. So if I had a time machine and I had to pick, I would pick Kitty Hawk. If I would get to watch one of them, that one would be pretty amazing to see.
But that flight only lasted 12 seconds. It went the distance shorter than a Boeing 747.
I know, but I think they knew what they did.
And do you really believe that was the first time an aircraft had flown? Or do you think that, because some people say that Leonardo da Vinci had some drawings of
Maybe.
crafts, and do you think he ever got airborne?
I went to Romania when I was still in the Air Force, and they claimed that they did it before the Wright brothers. So
Yeah.
who really knows? Maybe,
Really
again,
knows.
something America invented, propaganda and advertising. Maybe they're the only ones that got the message out. the right way. Who knows?
I would hate to be hot, but I think in hindsight, I would love to be in the room signing the Declaration of Independence and just to meet all those men, incredible
Right.
men who have created the greatest government that the world has ever seen.
It would be pretty
It'd be
amazing.
pretty amazing.
But we know them by their finished result. I think it would be super interesting to see before the signing, like to be
Can you
in the
imagine how hard
conversation
those conversations were?
and
Exactly.
part of the process and see like what ideas did they think of and then left off the table. Because I think there would be value in us knowing that too. Like, what did you guys think of and try, and why did you get rid of it? And
Mhm.
then we land on these decisions because I think, sometimes we try to rehash things that we've already discarded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll do the next one. Would you rather ride the entire Pony Express route or be a passenger on the first transcontinental railroad crossing in 1869
Okay, so the Pony Express
on a
only
horse?
only ran 18 months.
Right.
And they ran like one you wouldn't ride the whole thing. Your horse ran to the next station like
But didn't you ride the whole?
No,
Your horse rode it.
did the same guy didn't ride it? I thought
I
they
think
like had handoff stations, like you only rode 15 miles, handed off,
no.
and
I
then you
thought
would
the
catch it on the way
rider
back.
rode the whole thing. It was the horse that changed out.
Oh, that's not how I understood it.
But maybe.
But in real life, so I've always said I'm a train girl. I want to ride trains. Part of me wants to transcontinental ride a train. But I rode the train from Durango to Silverton. It was 3.5 hours one way. It was so wobbly.
Oh,
It was beautiful, but it was a little hot, and we were in a glass ceiling car.
yeah, the pictures were amazing though.
The pictures are amazing, and it was beautiful. We were baking most of the time.
Oh.
As we got to Silverton, it cooled off a little bit. Had that train been 20 degrees cooler, it would have been perfect. But then we got to Silverton, we had to turn around and watch the exact same thing come back. I made everybody bring a book. I thought we would ride on the way back and write a book. It was too wobbly to write a book. It was so. I'm torn right now. I'm really torn.
Well, that was more of like a classic kind of train, right? It wasn't a modern train.
Correct. It was the original, 120-year-old locomotive,
click clack,
which would have been
clack.
what they were riding transcontinentally.
Well, yeah, and I mean, no air conditioning, and you're just crammed in there in your wool coats, and you're like, what are we wearing wool for? What are we doing?
Now, granted, Colorado in the summer is usually pleasant enough, and as we got into the mountains, it cooled off significantly. But the funniest story, so we're riding this train, and they're sitting with me and the boys and Cade, and it's wobbling, and the terrain is treacherous. I just can't imagine people trying to travel any other way but train through this terrain.
Right.
So I'm just leaning over talking to the boys, and I said something to the effect of, can you imagine having to ride the Oregon Trail in a wagon versus can you see why they cut this not through the Oregon Trail, not through Colorado? And the conductor was walking by at the time, and he looked down at me and he goes, "This wasn't the Oregon Trail. It was the Colorado Trail." And he just kept walking, and Cade died laughing.
I have no doubt.
He was like, "You idiot, the Colorado Trail." I said, "I know the Oregon Trail didn't come through here. I was just making a point as to why the Oregon Trail went north of all this mumbo jumbo, because you cannot pull a wagon through here." That conductor just thought I was a total idiot. And every time he came back by, I just grabbed my papers. I was like,
he's talking about you on his podcast.
He's still telling people like the idiots we get on this train.
We got this blonde girl from Texas in here. Could you believe she thought we were in Oregon?
She thought this was the Oregon Trail. Would you rather be in a crowd at Gettysburg in 1863 or Times Square when Apollo 11 landed?
So I'm assuming hearing the Gettysburg Address, right? Not during the battle.
Correct. This is the address, not the battle.
I think for me, hearing Abraham Lincoln give this address, knowing its historic significance, I think I would rather that. Plus,
you don't believe the moon landing?
Well, no, but everyone did when it happened.
Sure.
They all believed that it was going on. I've been to Times Square. I went to go see the Christmas tree, and all the people in Times Square just to see the Christmas tree. I can't even imagine how electric it was when we landed on the moon in 1969.
I almost wish this would have been written that we celebrated VE Day Victory
Oh,
in
that would
Europe
be so
Day. Now
crazy.
that I'd rather be there for VE Day than
Man.
Apollo 11 landing for
Yeah.
sure. That would have been so cool. He loved the fact that apparently in that Gettysburg Address, Lincoln only spoke for about 2 minutes, but the guy who spoke before him spoke for 2 hours.
And nobody knows.
And nobody knows. And afterwards, he wrote Lincoln and he said, "You conveyed in 2 minutes what I could not convey in 2 hours," which I thought was fabulous.
It's so powerful.
I hate crowds and I hate waiting, so I really don't know that I would love either of these options.
Well, and listening to a speech in 1863, like you'd have to be so close to the speaker.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like, what? Say that part again.
Yeah.
Hold on. How many score ago?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so would you rather, and this is a fun one for you because you kind of have a familial connection to this, cross on the Mayflower, right? 66 days, 102 passengers, no bathrooms.
God, can you imagine?
I could not. Or like you and the conductor cross on a covered wagon for the Oregon Trail.
Man, that Oregon Trail. I reference the Oregon Trail a lot. I referenced it in my birthday post when I turned 40 on Instagram.
But you were talking about the game.
No, I was saying that what a blessing to hit 40. Had I been living in the 1800s, I would not have seen this birthday because I would have died of dysentery.
Right. Or a rattlesnake bite. Or
a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
So, yes, I have documented family that had passage on the Mayflower. I cannot imagine being in a ship in squalor, only seeing water for that many days. I also cannot fathom walking basically from St. Louis to Oregon because the wagons were for the sick, the babies.
Yeah.
And I've played the game enough to know that the survival rate is very low. But I think I would choose the Oregon Trail. I would rather take my chances with that than take a ship across the ocean.
Yeah. So there's a movie that came out relatively recently, directed by Kevin Costner called Horizon. It was supposed to be like in 3 volumes. The first volume didn't do very well because it was like
it was terrible. I watched it.
It was not terrible.
I didn't watch all of it.
It was an amazing movie, but it really captures like the journey that they took and what it was like and the personalities that are involved. And like there was a British lady that was there and she was from an aristocratic kind of upbringing. And so she was using water to bathe and, doing all this stuff. And they had to come and tell her like, hey, you've used your water ration
for a month.
You cannot, like, you can only drink to survive. And she was like, what are you talking about? You're like, we don't know when we're going to get water.
Yeah.
Like
I can't even imagine how tough our ancestors were, especially when we think about the power goes out here. We didn't have AT&T all day last Thursday. And
no cell phones.
It was kind of nice.
It was, but it was it was also stressful.
It was because I had left children at home and didn't know it. I went to CrossFit, was like, oh, this phone's not working. I have to run to work. I have no way to call home and tell them I'm not going to be there at 9:15. It just takes more preparation on the front end. So after that, I went home and I was like, we don't have cell service. Send me a text over Wi-Fi. I'll get it when I get back to service.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice not having my phone ring all day.
And it even thinks, to back in the 80s, like our parents just left us alone and we knew what the rules were and we had to follow them whether they were home or not. And we paid the consequences, or I for sure did, for not following them. But that day really reminded me of that freedom of not accountability, but nobody knew where I was. Nobody could track my location. Nobody could call me whenever they wanted me. Like I had to be in my office or at my house. Like I had a landline phone or something.
Yeah.
And so it really was. And I don't think that my children or my marriage would have lasted on the Oregon Trail because...
Well, no, the kids would have probably died.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Our entire existence would be... If they took us and put us onto the Oregon Trail, we would have to spend the entire time figuring out how to live, not just get across the country, but where does water come from? Where does food come from?
It's so funny, though. I pride myself in being a woman that would have been a great wife in the 1800s.
It's a weird thing to have pride.
I'm strong. I'm tough. I'm not scared of skirmishes. I think about that sometime. Like, I've been a great partner. You
listening, Kate?
Not everybody could, because I think of some women who are frail and can't do anything, can't lift anything, and maybe they're not resourceful.
Sure.
And I'm pretty easygoing and can live without those amenities. I'd love to be off the grid.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how good I would be, but
You
I would sure
did
try.
almost die on a hike.
One hike,
So
but I had
just
food poisoning. That's
like
different.
dysentery.
I redeemed myself on the next hike I took.
So Mayflower then?
I'm taking the Oregon Trail.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather attend the 1893 Chicago World's Fair or the very first World Series in 1903?
I could care less about the first World Series. At that Chicago World's Fair, like they didn't even know what they had.
They didn't know what they had.
We've probably said this a few times.
We're going to do an episode.
We're going to do an episode just on this.
If y'all don't know about the Chicago World's Fair, we're going to teach you.
My fear, though, if I had gone, I probably would have stayed at H.H. Holmes Hotel.
He was murdering mostly women, though.
Well, good. I would have. Sorry, Chris.
You should have been fine.
Yeah, I'd have been fine.
Women and children were his primary.
But I childlike whimsy.
I've thought the same thing. That would be my luck. I'd get murdered at the Chicago World's Fair.
Yeah, but there was just so much, and it was like they were on the cusp of the future, and they didn't really know it. It just would have been pretty exciting.
And some things that debuted at that World's Fair: the Cracker Jack, Juicy Fruit Gum, and the Zipper made its debut in 1893 at the World's Fair. 27 million visitors.
The Zipper.
And the country only had 65 million people.
Yeah.
So that's pretty remarkable. And so 27 million visitors, only like 6 deaths. So the odds are ever in our favor.
But it also had the Ferris wheel came out there.
The Ferris wheel was invented at that.
And Pabst got its bin at the Chicago World's Fair. That's so amazing.
I love that. From the news desk.
Oh, this is a good one.
Story number 1. The United States Camel Corps.
Camel Corps.
We are in Indianola, Texas, May 14th, 1856.
I'm glad you said it. I would have called it Indiana or something else.
That's why I took that line.
Indianola.
A Navy ship called the USS Supply pulls into port on the Gulf Coast and unloads 34 camels. This is not for a circus. This is not a joke. This is the United States Army. And here's how it happened. The Army had a problem. It was the Southwest. Miles of desert, no water, horses and mules kept dying in it. The Secretary of War at the time, a fellow named Jefferson Davis.
Dun, dun, dun. President of the Confederacy. Yikes.
You might hear of him later in history. He had been obsessed with the idea since the 1840s. Camels. He pitched it to Congress in 1851. He was laughed out of a committee. He pitched it again in 1852. Laughed out again. In 1855, he finally got $30,000.
Can we just take a break here? Maybe the reason that he became the president of the Confederacy is because they laughed at him so many times with his
and he's like, you know what? I'm going to pull the whole South out of this deal if y'all don't get me some darn camels.
Right. You hurt my feelings.
So here's the thing. Major Henry Wayne and Naval Officer David Dixon Porter sailed to the Mediterranean and went camel shopping. Turkey, Egypt, Tunisia. They came back with 33, though one died, but 2 calves were born on the way. 6 months later, Porter went back with and got 41 more. The total herd was about 70 camels, headquartered in Camp Verde, Texas, about 60 miles north of San Antonio in the hill country. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. It actually worked. The camels could carry 600 pounds, double that of a mule. They could go days without water. They ate creosote bush, which no other pack animal will touch. They crossed rivers. They climbed rocks. They needed no horseshoes. In 1859, the Army ran a camel survey through the Big Bend region, and the officer's report was essentially a love letter. He said their endurance was beyond praise. So, Scott, why don't we have a camel corps today?
I actually have no idea.
Because the soldiers hated them. Camels spit. Camels bite. Camels smell bad. And the horses and mules absolutely lost their minds around them, which means every time a camel walked into camp, the rest of the army stampeded. Then the Civil War came. Camp Verde fell to the Confederacy, and the camels got shuffled around and were largely ignored. Then in 1866, the surviving camels were auctioned off. Some went to circuses, some went to mining outfits, and some were simply turned loose into the desert. Camel sightings in the American Southwest were reported into the 1940s. A young Douglas MacArthur, another future name in history, claimed he saw one in New Mexico in 1885.
That's so crazy.
And the camels are presumably still out there, waiting for their orders.
Oh man, that'd be so cool to come across a wild camel somewhere. a giraffe got loose in the hill country and they couldn't find it anywhere. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it really was. I think one of my favorite anecdotes of this is the soldiers brought over a man from Syria. His name was Haji Ali, but the soldiers couldn't say it. And so they always called that camel wrangler Hi Jolly. I listened to a podcast about Hi Jolly.
Well, that's really funny. I mean, that's a long history of Americans not being able to pronounce things. I'm just in good company.
You really are.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool about this, the Camel Army is Big Bend is relatively close to us. Camp Verde also relatively close to us, about the same distance.
We're in between the two.
Right. But we had a camel camp here in Del Rio, right on the creek. Like there's one of those like historical markers or whatever right on the creek, and it talks about the camels that were stationed here.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing.
It really is. And that's where Scott and I learned about this, was from this historical marker on our creek walk. We run a lot of 5Ks in this area, walk with our families, and we've both read that marker, and it is so bizarre. We also had an army fort just north of us.
Right.
And there was a fort here, Fort Hudson. But anyways, so we knew about this history and we wanted to bring it to you guys because, again, it's kind of one of the more obscure things that is true and you just can't even believe it.
Right. Well, there's so many things in our history, and we're going to talk about some of them in just a few minutes about what actually makes America America. And some people call it the American experiment, because we just try stuff. And if it works, we keep it. And if it doesn't work, we adjust and we move on. And, this Camel Corps, for all intents and purposes, it did work. But there were reasons why we couldn't continue it, and so we set it aside.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that after the secession and the Civil War, people were not eager to praise Jefferson Davis and his camel idea. No. And they were probably like, you know what, we're going to let that guy had some bad ideas. We're going to let this one go too. It couldn't have been good. Well, story number 2.
Which is one I had never heard of before. This is pretty exciting. It is the time that New England almost walked out.
We've got the wrong. I thought we were going to change this to World Cup.
We are going to talk about the World Cup because it's just the wrong title on my paper.
Yeah, that's what I screwed up.
So just go back and say in story number 2.
Story number 2.
Bow, bow, bow.
America's 250th birthday celebration.
We did our birthday right this year.
So June 11th through July 19th, 2026.
We have talked about the camels and some weird stuff, but this is the best thing that America has done in a long, long time. What was it?
The World Cup.
The World Cup, the single greatest part of the 250th birthday. It was not a parade. It wasn't a fireworks show, which those were pretty great.
I wonder if this was on anybody's radar when we got the bid like 10 years ago
or
whenever.
It had to be. Like Trump even said, like, I want to throw America the best birthday party ever.
I know, but this has probably been decided for 12 years.
Yeah.
Because we already know where the next 3 World Cups are going to go. I just wonder if anybody, I didn't hear about the 250th anniversary until a year ago. So I wonder if it was just a great God wink that this all happened at the same time.
But what I think is so great about this, and what we are talking about, if you haven't picked it up, is the World Cup was hosted mostly in the United States. But we invited the entire world to our country to celebrate the greatness of America. Like we weren't just celebrating ourselves.
Yeah.
We invited everybody in to say,
and we celebrated them too.
That's right. We celebrated their cultures. I mean, I cheered for countries that I'd never even heard of before. Yep. I watched way more soccer this year than I ever have.
Yes.
And Jack used to play soccer.
I love to, just to digress, Sydney brought to my attention that this is called the semi-cinquentennial.
Whoa, it sounds like the Hunger Games.
It did. And he learned that from Ryan Trahan, the YouTuber. And so all summer he was like semi-cinquentennial or whatever. And so it was great. I had to drop that so y'all can start saying
well,
it too.
let's talk.
So let's talk numbers.
Numbers. Yeah, that's the part that I want to get to.
The numbers are absurd. So this tournament lasted 39 days.
Which I thought it was way longer.
It felt like a lifetime.
Yeah.
3 countries hosted, US, Mexico, and Canada. There were 16 different host cities, 48 teams. For the first time ever, they expanded the pool, and there were 104 matches.
104 matches. That's so much. But check this out. 6.8 million in-person attendees. That's like double the old record that was set back in 1994.
I mean, why are we having World Cups anywhere else?
I know.
What I want to know.
Well, we did kind of talk about this while we were watching maybe the semifinals or even the finals. Like the United States, not that, we're trying to be braggadocious, but we have so many stadiums and arenas that can support that because of our professional sports teams. Like we just have a lot of
We've got an absurd number of giant stadiums.
Yeah, but what blows my mind is we can host like a football game or a baseball game or something at all of our arenas, but they're very rarely ever full unless it's a special game. But for all 104 of these matches, it was 99.7% full every single stadium across 104 games for 39 days, spread across our entire continent. Virtually every single seat had someone in it.
Yeah. And I love that so I loved hearing about the Azteca. The Azteca, that's the stadium in Mexico City that is like one of those arenas that everyone talks about playing in. All the different players, they love talking about the Azteca. It was sold out for every match.
Yeah.
Which is not true of every place in the United States, but that the Azteca was humming with people. I loved hearing that. Fans came from 210 countries and territories. And on June 25th alone, 426,000 people went to a soccer game in one day.
In one day. That's like real people attending soccer in one day.
That's amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. And it blows my mind because this isn't, soccer, football isn't really like an American sport. And it was on display.
Yeah.
They didn't need the Americans to go. Like they came to watch. It's so amazing. And nobody thought it would work.
That's all we heard leading up to it. No, the stadiums are empty. There's no one in hotel rooms. This isn't going to work.
The FIFA president said afterwards, after he had read all the doubts and all that stuff, he was predicting that it was going to be full of empty seats.
Yeah, he was worried.
But
instead he looked like a genius.
But it wasn't the United States that proved it wrong. It was like we came together as a world and proved him wrong.
It was great. And so we got the largest attended sporting event in the history of the world.
Yeah. Sold out crowd, 70,649 in Dallas. That pushed the all-time collective attendance of every World Cup ever played in the past 50 million people. 50 million people, fans were in Texas.
Yeah. The 50 millionth fan was in Texas.
The 50 millionth fan was in Texas. That's just crazy amounts of people. But
this is where it gets good.
The attendance is not the real story or why we have it on here.
I agree. This is the part that wasn't scripted and it wasn't on the field. What was the real hero?
The real hero of the World Cup was ranch dressing.
It was ranch dressing.
I mean, okay, just explain it.
So over 1 million international visitors came to the United States and they started posting videos. And you all know this. It was the videos. They were not about the Grand Canyon. They were not about the Statue of Liberty. These videos were about gas stations.
Gas stations. Buc-ee's, our favorite gas station, became an international celebrity. The Texas gas station chain, Buc-ee's, fans were making pilgrimages. If they weren't going to a town that had a Buc-ee's, they were driving out of town to go. One soccer writer said that the most surprising star of the whole tournament was Buc-ee's, and he wasn't joking. It wasn't a tongue-in-cheek statement.
Visitors were astonished that a gas station could sell barbecue sandwiches, camping gear, and 50 flavors of soda all under one roof. They were astonished that a grocery store was the size of a regional airport.
And they were astonished by the free ice.
Free ice! They filmed it. A drink comes with ice in it, and it's free, and there's more where that came from. That's what blew people's minds.
Yeah, and free refills also, is not a thing in Europe at all. It was breaking their heads. Swedish fans went viral in Indiana reacting to an American comfort food. A Scottish supporter discovered fried chicken in Boston and posted it in all capital letters. And the United Kingdom needs to get fried chicken immediately.
A visitor in Orlando declared that 7-Eleven Big Gulp is one of his favorite discoveries in America.
But it was the ranch.
It was the ranch. Ranch dressing became such a phenomenon that the Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA, an actual federal agency, had to put on public notices reminding departing fans that ranch is legally a liquid and needs to go inside your checked bag.
So I actually kind of have it's not a ranch story, but it's a peanut butter story. This happened to me. I tried to take this gourmet peanut butter on a flight and they took it. It was 4:00 in the morning and I had a gigantic meltdown in TSA. Our government on ranch had to issue a formal advisory about ranch dressing. They said, do not bring it on the planes, which is the most 250th birthday thing that you could ever say.
Over and over, the thing visitors said surprised them most wasn't the food or the stadiums. It was the people who were nice to them.
I love that.
I loved it too. It warmed my heart. It makes me sweat just thinking about it. Firefighters in Alabama gave a group of foreign fans a tour of the station and sent them home with free merch. Visitors got invited onto boats, into people's homes, out onto Texas ranches, all by total strangers.
A tourism researcher put it this way. He said that tourists don't just consume landmarks, they consume daily life. And that's America, right? That is, Kristen and I were literally talking about this as we were walking over here. Everyone is putting out a message. Every personality you have, you're putting out a message. And Americans put out the message during the World Cup that you're welcome. Not like, thank you, you're welcome, but we are welcoming you to our country. That's what's so great.
A lot of these folks had only seen American movies, and a movie will tell you a lot of things about this country, but most of them just the loud stuff.
Right. Like the violence and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And instead of that, they got tailgaters, they got enormous breakfasts, they got a man at a gas station telling them to have a blessed day. I love that so much.
250 years old, and the best birthday present we got was the world coming over, looking around and going, this is nicer than expected.
Yeah, that's a win, America. Take it.
We'll take it. So what was your favorite memory of the World Cup?
So it was watching it with all my family and friends, but now it's that you're crying about it. That's a pretty good
you know me, I love a sports story. I actually wanted to be at the 1903 First World Series, but anyway.
But no, I love how this game brought our family and our friends together around something that normally
we don't pay much attention.
We wouldn't pay much attention to. Kristen's sister, while we were on vacation, had a bracket drawn out and she knew all the facts. And we just watched on our vacation the U.S. play somebody, I don't even know who it was. And then we watched games of countries that, half of us had never heard of. And I thought it was amazing.
The other thing that made me tear up during it was the Viking row that Norway would do. That was so cool, so fun. I just had a great time and loved the tournament. Yeah. And just, I say it needs to be here every year, but I think it's because when it's in other time zones, it's just a lot harder for us to watch primetime games and stay on top of everything. And so it was really fun to have it in our time zone, working with our schedule. But then again, America needed this attaboy now more than ever.
I agree.
And it couldn't have come at a better time. And I think that's what gets me emotional too.
Well, I think so too, that we have such a negative perception worldwide. But our reality on a daily basis is we're like, wow, this is pretty great. I don't see what other people are saying. And I'm glad that people came and they saw what we see.
I agree. It couldn't be better. Go World Cup.
Go World Cup. You did it
America. Right. Are you crying now? No, she's of course not.
Okay, let's talk about the top 10 most obscure but wonderful moments in American history. I think you should take this.
Okay, number 10, the Pig War.
The Pig War.
1859. A farmer on San Juan Island shot a pig belonging to the Hudson Bay Company because it kept eating his potatoes. Britain and the United States both sent troops. For 12 years, both armies occupied the island and got along so well that they held joint holiday parties. It was finally settled by arbitration in 1872 by the Kaiser of Germany. Total casualties of the Pig War? One pig.
One pig. What a crazy, crazy thing.
12 years. One pig.
Don't be shooting people's pigs, man.
If you're going to shoot a pig, you got to pay the price.
Okay. This one is pretty funny. I'd never heard of this one before either. Number 9, Emperor Norton the First. 1859, a bankrupt San Francisco businessman named Joshua Norton declared himself Emperor of the United States. He issued proclamations. He printed his own money, and a local business accepted it.
What?
He dissolved. He dissolved Congress by decree, which Congress ignored, thankfully, but he found it rude. He's the emperor. He also decreed that a bridge be built across the San Francisco Bay about 70 years early. And then he died in 1880. Tens of thousands of people came to his funeral. He was like a viral celebrity.
I mean,
before,
he would have been great on TikTok.
Yeah, before it was a real thing. It's hilarious.
1904 Olympic Marathon in St. Louis. The winner rode 11 miles in a car before being caught. The
Yikes.
actual winner was fed a cocktail of brandy and rat poison by his own trainers and a performance enhancer. And he had to be carried across the finish line. Well, rat poison and brandy will do that to you.
Let's not try that.
One runner ate rotten apples from an orchard mid-race and had to stop for a nap.
Oh my goodness.
Another was chased a mile off course by a wild dog and still finished ninth.
Yikes.
Only 14 finished.
That is amazing.
Man, the Olympics are really governed much better now.
Where is the movie about that?
I actually heard about this one on a podcast too before.
That is absolutely amazing. And also, now when we do it, there's cameras everywhere and they're just watching these
But
races.
back then, I'm going to hop in a car.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, who had a car in 1904?
Yeah.
It couldn't have been that many.
And they were like, okay, this is the starting line. We'll see you in 4 hours.
But that tells you how slow a car goes.
Yeah.
Like, he was able to just kind of toke him along, but the time didn't alarm anybody.
Right. They were all like, oh, yeah, that's a reasonable.
Yeah, that's a reasonable split.
Reasonable time. Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. 11-minute mile? Yeah, that'll work. I love that.
All right. So number 7, the Bone Wars, 1870 or the 1870s, the 1890s. 2 paleontologists, which this is an amazing name, by the way. Edward Drinker Cope or Cup.
I think it's Cope.
Cope. And then how do you say this other person's name?
Othniel.
Othniel Marsh. Like, what are we doing with names? Scott, Sarah.
Yeah, boring.
Yeah. I want to be Scott Drinker Foshi.
Yeah, that was Saturday night.
Never mind. I just want my name to be Drinker, not my title. Yeah. Okay. So these 2 paleontologists hated each other so intensely that they spent 30 years and both of them and their fortunes racing to out-discover one another. Like, think about that. They're just looking for bones and they're just racing to outdo each other.
Yeah. And at this time, what has been discovered? Like, there should have been bones aplenty. Like, we don't have to sabotage each other.
Like, I saw a fact the other day that George Washington had no concept of what a dinosaur was, like, because these guys were all discovering them.
That's crazy.
It blows my mind. But look, they bribed each other's crews. They stole shipments. They blew up their own dig sites so that the other guy couldn't find them.
What did we lose in that?
I don't know.
Tomfoolery.
And between them, they named well over 100 new dinosaur species. Almost every dinosaur that we love right now comes from these 2 men trying to ruin each other.
The Bone Wars.
The Bone Wars.
That's amazing.
Also, want to read a book on this? Like, it just
another
incredible.
good one. The Toledo War, 1835 to 1836.
A lot of wars on this list.
Well, sometimes when you think about history, the only thing that comes to mind is war because it seems like that's all we report on. Michigan and Ohio nearly went to war over the city of Toledo. Like, who cares?
We just saw this on a TV show yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, you should have read this one. Militias were raised. The only injury in the entire conflict was a sheriff getting poked with a penknife. Ohio kept Toledo. Michigan. Poor Michigan.
Poor Michigan.
Given the Upper Peninsula as a consolation prize and was furious about it. Michigan got roughly 16,000 square miles of forest, iron, and shoreline. Ohio only got Toledo.
Yeah. What? I feel like Michigan won.
Michigan absolutely won. And we keep talking about wanting to go to Michigan on a summer vacation because it is just beautiful.
Yeah. And no offense to our Toledo listeners, but when I was a kid, my brothers and I used to use Toledo, Ohio as a way to describe being out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if you asked me to name 100 cities in America, obscure city, whatever, Toledo would not make that list. I mean, I would exhaust 500 before I said Toledo.
But you would know it, though. Like, if we said Toledo, you would know that it was in Ohio.
Yeah, but I don't even know why.
Because of this war, probably.
Probably just this war.
Because you're really up on your 1836 war history.
I am. That's why I have a podcast.
That's right. Okay, so number 5, I think we actually might have talked about this one before, but people mailed their children through the U.S. mail between 1913 and 1915, which this is something that Kristen and I really needed because we used to fly our kids
Yeah.
up to Pennsylvania and they flew by themselves. It'd be a lot easier if we could just
Put them in a box.
put a stamp on them and
they
send
don't
them.
wander off when you put them in a crate.
So when the parcel post launched, the rules didn't exactly say that you couldn't mail a person, right? So if it didn't say it, then, didn't specify. So a handful of families mailed their kids. The most famous was a 5-year-old named May
Piersdorf.
Piersdorf. She was sent about 73 miles across
Idaho.
Thank you. For 53 cents.
I mean, that's a small fortune back then.
Just stuck a stamp on her. She wrote in a mail car with her cousin, who was the clerk. The post office eventually had to write a rule that said out loud, no children.
So not in a box.
She wasn't in a box, thankfully.
They just stuck her on the train.
They just stuck the postage on her forehead.
Yeah.
You had to prove you paid for it.
53 cents. Kristen would have absolutely done that.
So whenever I was in college, you could put a package on a bus, like from Del Rio to San Angelo.
Yeah.
This was amazing. For instance, I call my mom, I need my winter coat. She would put it in a box, walk it to the bus station, which used to be down here. She didn't walk it. She'd go down to the bus station, package it up, put my name on it, pay $7. And 2.5 hours later, my coat was in San Angelo, Texas. It was incredibly efficient. My friends, Caitlin and Will Edwards, her parents would put her on a bus here and as a young child, and her grandmother lived in San Angelo, and they would ride the bus alone.
Wow.
All the time. And it's remarkable. I loved that for them. But anyways, so not post, but same principle.
Same concept. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Number 4. I love this story. Nellie Bly goes around the world in 72 days.
In your face.
Nellie Bly was a 25-year-old reporter, and she decided she wanted to beat the fictional record from around the world in 80 days. She left New York with one dress and a small bag. She did it in 72 days, 6 hours, and a little bit of change. She even met Jules Verne along the way, and he told her, "You will never make it."
Yeah, that's amazing. If you don't know the context, Jules Verne wrote the book Around the World in 80 Days. And that's so amazing.
It's amazing. And I think somebody was actually racing Nellie Bly at the same time. So it ended up being like they were jockeying. I think the person went the opposite direction just to try to, if I remember the whole story correctly. But I love the anecdote that Jules Verne told her. Ain't happening, sister.
It ain't gonna work. But that was in 1889. Again, like she had to take like steamboats. And,
it was steamboats. It was trains.
No airplanes.
Yeah.
Like, yikes. All right, number 3, which I absolutely love. I think this is pretty great. The Statue of Liberty's pedestal was crowdfunded in 1885. France sent us the statue. America couldn't afford the base to put it on. And so the project just stalled. And then Joseph Pulitzer, who is the Pulitzer Prize guy, right? He ran a campaign in his newspaper promising to print your name if you donated any amount of money. It didn't matter how small it was.
Genius move.
It was great. They printed your name on the Statue of Liberty. More than 120,000 people gave, most of them less than $1. Many of them children just sending pennies. And that is how the monument to immigrants was paid for largely by immigrants.
I mean, it's so genius. Not only do you crowdfund, but also if I know my name's going to be run in the paper, I'm going to buy that paper. I'm going to probably buy 5 of those papers and look at me.
Yeah.
I'm in the Times or whatever.
It's so amazing.
It's the greatest story. This is also a great story. Number 2, the 1925 Serum Run to Nome.
Oh,
this is Nome, Alaska.
Yeah. And there's some really great movies about this. It's just such an amazing story.
Diphtheria has hit the Alaskan town of 1400 with no way in. The port has been frozen. The planes are grounded. 20 mushers and about 150 sled dogs relayed the antitoxin 674 miles through a blizzard in 50 below temperatures in 5.5 days. Balto, the dog out of these 150, got his statue in Central Park, but the dog who ran the longest and most dangerous stretch across the sea ice of the Norton Sound was a 12-year-old dog named Togo.
Togo. And there's a movie. So there's a movie called Balto. It's a cartoon that's kind of about this. But there's a movie with somebody that's famous, Willem Dafoe. It's on Disney Plus. It's called Togo, and Balto is one of his dogs. And the reason, according to this movie anyway, if there's any truth in it, that Balto became more famous than Togo is because the newspaper writer liked the name Balto better.
Yeah.
But Togo was the dog.
The dog. I was going to say, Togo was a man. Togo was the dog.
Yeah. But it's a very emotional story.
Yeah.
You'd cry a lot.
I would cry it all. I cried all the time.
So number 1, the Choctaw gift to Ireland. It's pretty cool. 1847. So the worst year of the Irish famine, the potato famine, the Choctaw Nation living in Oklahoma. They were also poor. They were displaced. Only 17 years removed from the Trail of Tears, in which they had lost thousands of their own. They heard about the people across the ocean, and they heard that they were starving. So they took up a collection among themselves, and they raised $170, several thousands of dollars in today's money. Like this is a big deal. And then they sent it. They had nothing, and they sent it to strangers that they would never meet. Ireland has never forgotten it. In 2017, the town of, I'm going to say Middleton in the country of Cork, which is pretty cool.
County Cork,
thank you. Unveiled a sculpture called
Kindred Spirits.
9 20-foot steel eagle feathers arranged into an empty bowl. And in 2020, when COVID hit, the Navajo and the Hopi nations, the Irish donors sent money back to them. Yeah. That's so cool.
I know. Well, I'm going to cry again.
Oh, boy.
Man.
Who knew this was such an emotional
I just love America.
Episode?
Look, I've even got my little American 250 commemorative medallion on.
I'm wearing a blue shirt.
It's a beautiful story.
I think it's blue.
I got an honorable mention.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln is the only president to hold a U.S. patent.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
It's patent number 6469, and it was a system of inflatable bellows to lift boats over sandbars, but it was never built.
Wow.
Oh.
That's cool.
So if any of y'all are struggling with a sandbar, look up that patent and you can use it. All right, Scott, we've come to the part of our program where we're going to have our hullabaloo debate.
Oh, man, I cannot wait to destroy you in this debate.
I'm just going to let you know, the other side of my medallion, one side's a flag, one side is the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Should the bald eagle be replaced as the national bird by the wild turkey? Here's the thing most people don't know. The bald eagle was not officially the national bird of the United States until about 2 years ago, December 24th, 2024. It had been on the Great Seal since 1782, on the money, on the passport, on every military insignia. And legally, though, it was nothing. A guy in Minnesota discovered the gap while researching a book and spent years lobbying to fix it. Congress finally passed it, and it was signed on Christmas Eve, 2024.
So that's shocking.
I know. So for 242 years, we were just running on eagle vibes, which means the question up until recently was technically up for debate.
I mean, just until like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
what team are you on, eagle or turkey?
I am team turkey for sure, but it's because what are eagle vibes, right?
Yeah.
You're proud,
majestic,
I guess, beautiful. But Benjamin Franklin, not a president, a good candidate for Mount Rushmore, in 1784, he wrote a letter and he called the bald eagle a bird of bad moral character.
Ben.
He said it does not get its living honestly. He said it was lazy because it didn't fish for itself. It just was, it's a scavenger. It steals from hardworking birds.
Sounds like America.
And it's genuinely
I'm kidding.
Poor and often lousy. And here's the kill shot. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He said that it's ranked as a coward.
That's reason enough.
He said because the king bird is the sparrow, and it could take it down.
A sparrow can take down a bald eagle?
That's what he says.
Then maybe we should be lobbying for the sparrow.
These are Franklin's words, not my words.
He was drunk a
Founding
lot,
father,
though.
It's in the record.
Let the record stand.
Okay, but this is why I think that the turkey was a better candidate. I will admit that a turkey's pretty ugly.
It is not pretty.
It's not pretty. But if all of that stuff is true about an eagle, I have no beef. I don't know eagle, so I don't know.
There's not a lot to know.
I don't know if he's actually like this or
They
not.
were nearly extinct.
He looks off kind of grumpy.
He does look grumpy.
But
I think you're confusing the bald eagle with the Muppets version of him.
He is also very grumpy.
That's a grumpy
eagle. I love that one. But Franklin said that the turkey is, by comparison, a much more respectable bird and a true original to North America. And he also said that it was a bird of courage. So every country has an eagle.
Lots of but it's only native to North America, the bald eagle.
The bald eagle is, but every country has a version of an eagle. Not everyone has a turkey.
I think the bald eagle is the greatest of all of those. There's a lot of turkeys, surely.
The golden eagle is a better eagle, and they are from Australia.
The Franklin turkey thing is kind of a myth. He wasn't actually proposing the turkey as the national symbol. He was writing a letter complaining about the seal of the eagle was drawn so poorly that it looked like a turkey, and then he went off on a tangent, and he was just writing.
And he was right about all of his tangent stuff, though.
He was just an old man, 78 years old, in France, drunk at a dinner party, ranting about somebody's artwork.
I mean, but imagine that situation. Like, this guy invented bifocals. He discovered that lightning had electricity in it, and he could harness it in a certain way. And he gets drunk at a dinner party, and then he starts comparing bald eagles and turkeys.
I'm going to be honest, I'd love to have been at that party.
I mean,
it would have been fun to hear.
You hear old Ben last night?
But a turkey there's something majestic about the bald eagle. And it's the greatest comeback story ever. They almost went into extinction, and they have rebuilt and come back stronger than ever.
I mean, I hope that becomes the story of America.
And I would never want a turkey with that snood on his nose.
Is that what it's called? The snood?
It's called a snood, and it's disgusting. There's a thing over their nose, and this is just gross. It looks like a private part on its beak.
I don't argue the beauty of it, but I will say that wild turkeys, which are native to North America, not the grocery store turkeys, but they can fly 55 miles an hour in short bursts.
I would love to see that.
And they can run 25 miles an hour.
They're so funny looking with their legs and their big old bodies. They're just like a ball with legs. They look like a
see behind them too.
And hearing that they stole from other birds. I mean, that is just evolution. Eagles, I know. The argument that that's called kleptoparasitism, and it's just the way zoologically they were evolved to
Sydney, get in here. Did you hear that word? He's going to be repeating
and semi-sequentially they come out of hibernation.
Say it again.
Kleptoparasitism.
So she didn't give me that word to say for a reason.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no way.
Don't even try to spell it. But that is just the way the food chain works in mysterious ways. That's how God designed them, and that's how they've survived. They almost didn't survive. They probably had to learn how to fish on their own, because I don't know what was, aside from hunting, we probably did them a disservice, and we made them the national bird, and then everybody wanted to stuff one on their mantle, and that's probably why they almost went extinct.
But I mean, we stuffed turkeys on mantles too. You're talking about the comeback story. Turkeys were also almost extinct. They were down to about 30,000 birds, and
that sounds like a lot.
And they came back.
To what? How many turkeys are there?
I don't know. We eat them every year. Millions. And millions.
I thought you were talking about wild turkeys, not farm turkeys.
There are millions.
But that's fine. If you want to put on our money a bird that we drop in a hot oil bath and deep fry every Thanksgiving, Scott, go to the nation of Scott. And
this is why it's none of those things. So I want to talk about what the symbol of turkey does to the American family.
Makes me want some ranch dressing.
It does make you want some ranch dressing, but it also makes you want to gather together with your family. The turkey feeds people. It brings us around the table, and it doesn't look at you like it doesn't look down at you.
No, because it's down on the ground looking out.
I just think that a turkey is more symbolic of the identity of America. Like, who are we really? Like we just talked with FIFA. Like, we are a welcoming community. We are one that takes care of one another, and that's what a turkey does.
We're like a wild Mustang.
Yeah, sort of, but we're like a wild Mustang that takes care of ourselves.
Do you know what Franklin's actual favorite idea for the seal of the United States was?
I have no idea.
Moses parting the Red Sea and drowning Pharaoh. That was his actual vote.
I heard that one of the founding fathers also wanted like the pillar of fire
They did.
in following in Egypt. Somebody wanted like Hercules, maybe.
Yes, which I love that one, choosing virtue and vice. And I'm going to go on a tangent now.
Okay, here we
This
go.
is a new tangent. So it was John Adams. He wanted Hercules choosing between virtue and vice. And I like this because I feel like today Americans are choosing vice.
Right. No,
They are not choosing a meaningful life that is forged through meeting adversity and building character and making the right action. They are looking for a promise of life free from sorrow, free from hard work or sweat, where they can enjoy food and wine and love and comfort and not lift a finger. That is my fear for America.
Yeah.
And that was ironically the founding fathers' fear 250 years
Right.
ago, folks. So this is not a new problem. There's always been a part of the population that doesn't want to lift a finger, doesn't want to work hard. But a life worth living is a life that is hard and cultivated
That's
and
right.
is fulfilled by your work ethics.
So there's a really cheesy saying, but it goes right along with what you're talking about right now, which is it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that is 100% what life is. Like you can get to a point where you're wealthy or you're relaxed or there are people that are taking care of you. But if you haven't earned it, then it's not worth it. And you have no idea what to do with it once you have it. But if you live a life that's worth it, you've lived a life that you've earned everything that you've gotten, it makes it so much more sweet and you value it more.
Absolutely.
You're not ready to just throw it away. And that's the difference between virtue and vice. Like people who have earned money the virtuous way value it more and are not quick to just throw it away. They will give it away. They will take care of people with it. But those who have gotten it through vice, they've gotten it the quick and easy way. I mean, that's Star Wars, right? The dark side's the quick and easy path. The light side is harder, but it's more valuable. And that's real life.
Yeah.
It's real life. Take virtue, do not take vice.
Take virtue, guys, and it makes the food and the wine so much sweeter
That's
at
right.
the end
So
of the day.
turkey.
And that is all the time we have today for hullabaloo and tomfoolery.
It's tomfoolery and hullabaloo, but we are so excited to be back. It's been a little while since we've been here, and I'm just so happy to be back on the microphone. Kristen laughing at all of our jokes, which is important.
She laughed at most of them.
Most of them.
So that's it. 250 years, one pig war, 70 camels, a self-declared emperor, and a country that gets it wrong constantly but keeps showing up anyways.
That's right.
Happy birthday, America.
I love it. We'll see you guys next time.